Warning, this podcast may contain some dodgy language and content that some listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the Seesaw Podcast with T and Cleves.
Each week, offering up a delayed perspective on life.
So T, how's life?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Post-Christmas, I don't really want to speak too much about it because everyone has done Christmas by this point.
Yeah. I mean, given the unprecedented times, you can see my finger quotations, of course. But given all these unprecedented times and nonsense, I think just the magic of Christmas is gone.
It was never really there to begin with.
I suppose so. That might just be age.
So what's January bringing for you? What's your New Year's resolution?
Don't really do resolutions. Usually have an annual sort of goal, something I want to work towards, but not so much resolutions. They're not really something I think work, to be honest.
Fine, what's your goal for this year?
I suppose take better care of myself. That's something I think we all think is a good idea at the time. And then there's other little bits as well, of course. How about you two?
My goal for this year is to move house. Oh, that's a point actually. House saga update. Someone's actually put an offer in on mine, and I've put an offer in on someone else's. So that should hopefully be going through. And I didn't have to give away my address on the podcast just to get it sold.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, I was going to say the podcast actually helped you sell your house, but considering that it sold before we released episode 1...
You don't know that. It makes it sound like episode 2 I hadn't sold it.
Well, yeah, that's true, but if we're giving spoilers away, the episode 1 came out a fair few weeks after being recorded. But this is definitely January.
Definitely
January. Not before Christmas or anything like that, any time that's convenient for us. Definitely January we're recording this one. Aside from the sale of your house, congratulations.
Thank you. It's not gone through yet, but hopefully it will.
Well, fingers crossed. And you can always plug it on the podcast if it doesn't.
Yeah, I need to plug out. I've got a few extra rooms, so maybe I can get someone to come and lodge with me for a little bit.
Yeah, that's potentially something you could do if you were willing to have nut bars just show up at your door.
Just because they're willing to lodge with someone doesn't make them mental.
No, but the fact that they want to lodge with you, I would say, is implicit of that.
That's a bit rude.
Yeah, well, accuracy and rudeness usually go hand in hand.
I think it'd be quite a good little... It'd be like a little sitcom living with me.
What, the really odd couple?
You don't know the other person's going to be odd. It might be Blink and Norm.
Might be.
Especially if their name's Norman. That'd work. Blink and Norm.
You know what, now that's something you should pitch to Netflix. They will pick up anything at this point.
Yeah, we talked about doing a video version of this and it would probably pick that up.
Yeah, they probably would, but to be fair, it wouldn't be a very exciting thing considering it's 2 pasting tables, a computer and a microphone in my spare room.
Well, they made a cartoon out of that Ricky Gervais one.
Yeah, but he's talented.
So am I. Notice I didn't say we.
Well, we all know that you carry the podcast. So when it inevitably does fail, you'll be the one to blame.
I'm okay with that.
Good. I'm glad you are.
Alright, shall we move on to this week's topic?
Sounds good.
Topic of the week.
The topic of the week this week is...
A surprise.
No, it was a surprise last week. This week it's keeping fit.
Yeah, so it's January.
December 23rd.
23rd December, January. Keeping fit is something that everyone likes to do. Or aspires to do in January. We podge up over the season, make terrible decisions, say to ourselves at the time that it's fun, it's enjoyable. I mean, realistically, do you need to have a cheesecake dessert after Christmas pudding dessert and then cheese and crackers?
I think, wait. I think you're being a bit unfair. Because some people are podgy all year round and make terrible decisions about what they eat all year round and have a cheesecake for dinner all year round.
Not dessert, dinner.
Well, yeah, the brownies for pudding.
Yeah, well, it has to be, doesn't it? You need something a bit warm.
Yeah, exactly.
Helps you sleep.
It's like a hot, yeah.
Especially if that's your lifestyle, you'll need something to help you sleep.
Do people have trouble sleeping? Is that a thing?
It can be. It can be. Sleep apnea is something that occurs with increased sort of body weight. It does come with a lot of other issues as well. It's not an exclusive thing. Like you can carry a few extra pounds and not have these issues. But a lot of people who have something like sleep apnea, insomnia, light sleepers, they carry a little bit extra weight usually. Again, not exclusive. I'm not saying that's the case. Some people have these conditions outside of weight and health conditions.
I got in great shape last year, and I have pretty much let that go to waste over the Christmas season. The cum gutters that I had back in July have now filled out somewhat. To the point they are no longer the defined gutters of old. I'm more just well, I don't really know what to call them now. What do you call a gutter? You know when you have to get someone to scoop out your gutters in your house? I basically need that.
So what you need is a guy named Gary with a ladder to come and scoop them out.
Yeah. I exactly need that.
I mean, you can always try Yellow Pages. I'm sure someone will come around
Yellow
to try
Pages.
and do that.
Fucking hell. Is that even... Oh, shit. Do you know what, right? The other day, someone actually knocked on my door. I opened it, and it was just a phone book lying on my mat.
Well, I'm glad you opened it.
Who's going to use that, though? Surely that's just a waste of paper.
Yeah.
I had a quick look inside it. I was genuinely intrigued, because I've not seen one in years.
You should keep hold of it, because come barbecue season, when you want a fire pit at the end of the night, phone books make fantastic kindling.
The thing is, as well, it didn't really have... You know, like old phone books used to have people's numbers in it, didn't they? And then loads of adverts. Well, the numbers are gone, obviously, but it just had adverts in. But because the book was so long, I'm not flicking through that for adverts. I'm going to go and do like any normal person does, and then just pretty much Google whatever I want, and then look at the map to the closest thing to me.
I mean, I didn't have one delivered, so I think they are on the outs.
Living where you live, mate, it was delivered, it's just that someone stole it.
It's a possibility. I mean, you have to make that sustainable housing one way or another. Just taping Yellow Pages together.
You know, it would hold up for a while.
What, until it rained?
Yeah, but I think it would, if you had enough of them to make a roof.
I suppose.
Quite sustainable, because you know there's a lot of sheets of paper there, and they come with like with like a sheen on the outside, don't they? Like
lamination.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was getting at. Yeah. So you know the rain would just sort of trickle off, do it in a triangle shape, hobo penthouse.
I suppose so. Regardless of that, what you can probably not find in those Yellow Pages would be personal trainers and gyms, because I want to bring this back to the actual topic that we were discussing.
Gyms would be in there.
I don't think so. That might be something for you to look
Jim
at.
the electrician was in there.
I'm sure Jim the electrician was in there, and probably a guttering person named Jim as well, if Gary isn't up to speed on what you need doing.
He's the work experience kid, starts in January.
Well, January's the best time to get in that work experience. You were in good shape this year, even with lockdown. I think the lockdown, you either did one of two things. You either bloomed or got in the best shape of your life.
Oh, I thought you said bloomed, not ballooned.
Well, why would you bloom? I suppose you could bloom if you're very, very creative.
Like artistically, yeah. You start doing activities you never thought you knew how to do.
Okay, you could bloom, balloon, or get in the best shape of your life. But I think the first one's not really anything to do with the other two.
What if, well, you say that, but what if you got in shape and then found your creative passion, balloon modelling? Then you've done all three.
I mean, it's a niche industry, I'll give you that.
Work out with balloons. That's probably not been done online. You would probably, if that was an online fitness video, people would watch that.
Balloonsercise.
Exactly, yeah, Balloonsercise. Those things are quite hard to blow up as well. It's like lung strengthening.
I suppose you could get the most ridiculously strong material you could, like rubber, and make it impossible to inflate. But I think that's going to cause more issues than anything else.
I'm just saying, I've never seen a Balloonsercise video.
Well, Give it time. There's enough bollocks out there, to be honest.
But I don't know what you're talking about. That idea is gold. I might even cut this out because people steal it.
If you're listening and you decide to create Balloonsercise...
I want the credit for that. Patent pending. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google this afterwards, and I'm probably going to be horrified to find it already exists.
It probably does. There is some ludicrous stuff out there. Like, absolutely mad.
Let's just say that we don't do Balloonsercise, and your options for January really are basically diet and exercise, isn't it? That's how you get back in shape.
Yeah, pretty much. When it comes to exercising, getting back into shape and all of that sort of thing, the problem, I think, is there's a lot of lies and misinformation, oversaturation of the market of information.
Not with Balloonsercise.
Not with Balloonsercise, no. That's very, very niche at this moment. But I think that's a lot of the problem, because there is sort of a force-fed, this is what you have to do. And this is usually pushed by people in fantastic shape. We've all seen them on social media, on Instagram and all sorts of things. And they're usually topless. And they're like, hey, do this and this and this and you can look like me.
You say that, right, but it's usually only the men that are topless.
Women being topless, I think those are different websites.
You don't really find a lot of exercise videos on Pornhub.
Well, I'll take your word on that. It's not exactly something I look into.
We could do, it's January.
I suppose you could.
Just move on.
But we'll move on from that. The issue with a lot of this, like these advertising and things like that, is that the people who are advertising, firstly, they want to sell you something. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that they have done themselves, but they're using basic principles of the fitness industry and they're turning them into a means of generating money. The problem with that is they're usually very general and they don't fit a vast majority of people.
We should probably explain before you go any further that T did actually used to run a gym.
Yeah, I think we've got
in a previous life. He's not just giving like Billy Big Ball speech for nothing. He's got some knowledge to back it up.
In my previous career, I did manage a gym. I qualified through a charity scheme to get disabled people into the fitness industry with mixed results. Let's just say that.
Well, was that actually a disabled thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. It was a scheme run by a spinal charity.
Okay.
Called Aspire. And the idea was get more disabled people into the fitness industry. There were issues with this scheme. I don't think they prepared...
Were there spinal issues?
There were some people with spinal issues on the course, but as far as the course being...
What were their deadlift skills like?
It's quite good, to be honest.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Oh, shut my mouth.
If you're deadlifting properly, your spine doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's all in the legs. So... It's a good scheme. I think it lacked a few bits. When I did it, it didn't give you all the qualifications you needed.
It was a free scheme though, just to be clear.
It was free. It was free, and I'm not going to knock it for that. But I also got trained as a personal trainer through my employer, because I got trained as a fitness instructor and a disability exercise specialist through this scheme. That's one thing to look up first while we're on that topic. If you are going to get personal training, fantastic, but always check their credentials. It's so easy to be sold something, but check their credentials, see what they're qualified in. If they're not qualified in something that you like or you're interested in, then maybe they're not for you.
They might be qualified in YouTube videos.
They might very well be qualified in YouTube videos, if that's a thing.
Probably is now.
But don't pick your personal trainer because of how they look and things like that. Pick them because you either do well with them, like you have a lot of rapport with them, or they specialise in something you're interested in. But we'll come on to personal trainers in a little bit, because that is a very sort of specific part of the fitness journey.
Alright, fine. So it's January. I've got the option. Do I go to the gym or not?
So the short answer is no.
Okay.
I don't want to be that guy, and I don't want to put people off. I know that
gyms have been closing left, right, and centre, and your answer to getting fit in January is fuck them gyms.
I don't want to damage the industry. I'm no longer in the industry, but I don't want to damage it needlessly. But coming from that industry, I can say that it's not for a vast majority of people. So the problem with gyms is, I think a lot of people who are listening will have had this happen. January rolls around, you sign up for a gym. Firstly, it looks like you're getting a fantastic offer. Spoiler, they put the prices up usually in December so they can drop them in January, because I've done that.
It's only like a 28-day rule, and you put it up for like 28 days and then you can advertise it as a sale, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And usually these deals are not the best you'll get. The best deals you'll get are when they're not doing too well in the low seasons. So low seasons, March, April. This is usually when you've had a drop-off and when you want to get your numbers back up. That's usually when you'll get the best deals.
I'm fat now.
Okay. Well,
I hear you cry. I can't wait till March. I'll be big as a house by then. Made of phone books. Full circle.
With these, I mean, some of the offers will still be quite good. But I'm sure a lot of people have gone to the gym in January, usually with a friend. Firstly, that's the first warning sign, I will say. Don't ever start a fitness journey with a support network that's like a friend and you're like, oh, this year we'll actually do it. Because you're basically doubling the chances. Like when it comes to exercising and getting fit, you have what we call external locuses. And they're basically things that you can use as an excuse. So you can have internal locuses. Internal locuses are things where you're like, oh, I haven't got the energy to do that. My medical condition won't let me do that, because they're all internal things that affect you. External locuses are things that are outside of you. It's raining, so I'm not going for a walk. That's an external locus, which it is raining at the moment. So I wouldn't take the dog for a walk in this. When you're starting your journey with another person, you get in your mind, we're going to do this together. So what you're now doing is you're doubling the chances of not doing it.
Yeah, but you might be doubling the chances of doing it.
That is so rare, it's pretty much non-existent. Take it from someone who's worked in the industry.
Friends will always let you down.
Pretty much. The amount of groups of 2 or 3 we get in January, I used to get in January, and you do their inductions, give them programs, that sort of thing. The amount of times one of them would come back and then they would drop off.
Right, so what you're saying is for January, your fitness goal should be to firstly get rid of all your friends.
Yes. Having a support network is important, but do not do this with other people, because it should be about you. If you make it a group thing, the first thing you have, like I said, you have all of those different elements that can stop you from actually doing it. But then you also have the thing that people who go to the gym with a friend, I'm not saying this is all the time, but I'm saying the casual person who starts in January, they do more talking than exercising. And people don't like the gym. I would guarantee, I would say around 90% of people do not like the gym because it's boring, it's repetitive, it takes effort to go there, it's not an enjoyable experience, especially if you want to actually get results. It's not enjoyable. So going to the gym with a few friends, it's just not going to work. It just won't. It's very rare that it will. And these are anomalies, like 1 in 100 situations this will happen. So try and avoid that if you are going to go to the gym.
My other problem with the gym is starting in January. Sounds great, I've paid my 20 quid a month or whatever it is. But then, come February, how else am I going to spend 20 quid and not get anything out of it when I inevitably don't go back to the gym for the rest of the year?
That is a common thing.
What else would I spend that £20 on? I'm going to have to spend it on that gym that I don't go to. I mean, gym instructors got to make money too, right? They're making it off people like me.
They do, but what you'll often find is they make their money in other ways. So
Sounds seedy.
it can be. It depends on what sort of gym you go to. Like, there's a lot of differences. Health clubs are different. Leisure centres are different.
The ice cream man cometh.
So, with memberships, I mean, it depends on what sort of gym you go to, leisure centre, health club. They will all have different ways of generating money, but ultimately that isn't your concern. So I don't ever think about that when I go to Morrison's and think, oh, I'm putting Tesco out of business by not shopping there. So, commercialism, it doesn't matter. I would say avoid contracts. 3 months is fine, I suppose, if it's a 3-month minimum. A lot of places are like that. Avoid the yearly ones. They're not so much a thing anymore, but avoid those. Avoid upselling as well, like the upsell, because they will do that quite a lot. Because in January they want to capitalise on the fact that everyone's coming to them, and you will have things pushed on you like, this extra package will guarantee 10% extra results. No, it won't. It absolutely won't. What I would say is beneficial is when memberships come with X amount of free classes, or your membership has free classes in it as well, or they have something like 1 session or 2 sessions with a personal trainer. Personal trainers, they do use these as an opportunity to sell themselves, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But you need to remember, when you go into this, you can be very specific with what you want to do. You don't have to do what they say. Well, let them know in advance. Don't just show up and say, I want to do this. Like, if you can give them a little bit of a heads up and say, in my session, I want to do blah, 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 blah. And if it's just a little bit of knowledge or nutritional advice, use them for that. Don't be put off by the fact that they're a personal trainer. Personal training, I used to do personal training sessions where I never even stepped foot in the gym, because there'd be nutritional sessions or there'd be planning sessions. So a lot of the time, a personal trainer, if you say, instead of having the PT session, can I just have a nutritional session? They're like, yeah, cool. And they might be able to help you with that side of things.
Well, you said the gym you don't necessarily need to go to, but if you are going, you may as well take the personal trainer route. Is that the best way for results?
If you're really serious, yes. Make the investment in yourself. Even professional athletes have personal trainers. Personal trainers, if they're good, then you will get a lot better results with them. And you don't need a membership at a gym to get a personal trainer. Some gyms are a bit funny about that, but you don't need to. A personal trainer who's worth anything will make it work, because ultimately it's business for them. But you've got to find the person who's right for you. So if you're interested in sustainable weight loss and you know how much you want to lose, don't go to the personal trainer because they're gorgeous and they've got a fantastic body, but all they do is powerlifting and bodybuilding. Because even though they might have some of the knowledge to help you, that's not what they want to do. And personal trainers will always gravitate to do what they want. So you'll end up doing powerlifting and stuff like that. Things that, again, you probably won't like. So that's something to always be aware of.
Can't you just tell them what you want to do, though?
You can, but I think a lot of the thing with personal trainers is putting your trust in them and making it mindless. A lot of the reason people fail at the gym is because you're given a generic program. Because, quite frankly, the instructors don't get paid enough to do a bespoke program for everyone, so they won't.
So you just phone it in?
Pretty much, to be honest. And there's guidelines usually outset by the organisation to say this is what you give them. If they want more, get them to pay for sessions, which is why you can really have like hard sales.
Is there anything actually good about the gym? Is there anything funny at the gym that's actually worth a mention?
I've seen a lot of things.
That's ironic.
There's been many weird, wonderful instances at the gym. Some crazy things have happened. Seen more than my fair share of vomit. People soiling themselves while lifting weights. That happens, unfortunately.
How many people shit their pants? Do they do that a lot?
Not as much as you'd think, but I have had to clear more than my fair share of excrement off of equipment. It's not pleasant.
Is it mainly men that do that, or there's a lot of people that I imagine in the gym that's super macho, they're like, ugh, try and lift a lot of weights and then ultimately end up just browning out?
I think the problem with men, in fact, this is a disgusting story, But because men wear shorts, you also have that as an issue. And we have things like various bits of equipment and weights, benches and stuff like that. And I have had to pick poo off of the floor because where someone has literally shit themselves while on a piece of equipment, and where women usually wear leggings, like that's going to stay with them until the changing room. Yeah. When a man stands up, he just drops out of his shorts.
Oh man!
Yeah, that I've more than a few occasions that's happened.
Can't you get one of the new people to get that, like a shit picking?
When I became a manager, yes, I never did that myself. It was always the youngsters that you get to do. You got to pay your dues.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's the same with the
pay
puke.
Your poos, more like
pay your poos. So the puke bucket as well.
The fact that you had an entire bucket dedicated to that is disturbing.
Yeah, it had like sawdust in it and stuff. The worst thing is when they puke in a bin and don't tell members of staff. I had that on an early once when I came in, and the gym just reeked. Then I checked the footage because I wanted to make sure. Well, I need to find where the smell was, so I checked the cameras before close, and a young lad just violently ill in one of our gym in one of the bins, and didn't tell a member of staff and just went, and it's been festering.
At least he did it in the bin.
At least he did it in the bin. That bin had to be disinfected because I don't know what he'd been eating. So before we can move on to the home side of things, you don't have to necessarily go to the gym, but you can still do things physical. So classes are a really good one. You can usually get a free class at locations. Boxing, kickboxing. I used to have a lot of boxing and kickboxing clients because I was different. A lot of my client base was based off of people who want to do something different. Other classes like Dancercise, all sorts of stuff, spinning, aqua aerobics. There's pretty much a class out there for anything you could be interested in.
What about Balloonsercise?
Potentially, going forward, there might be Balloonsercise. But this is a viable option. It really is. And you'll find that it's a lot cheaper to do this than it is for your gym membership. So do a couple things once or twice. Get your free class. There's the classes everywhere. If you don't like it, don't go back. It didn't cost you anything.
Oh, so just go to the classes.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to sign up for the gym to do that.
No. Some places will be, you get them for free in the membership. But if your membership's £30 a month, and that includes the classes, and the classes are £5 each, and you're doing one a week, well, you're saving a tenner, and it's just pay as you go to do it once a week and not get that membership. Then if you do catch the bug and you want to do other classes because you meet some people in the classes and they want the same thing as you and you get that rapport and friendship going, then maybe the membership is in the cards down the line. But don't make that your priority. That's not what you should be aiming for to begin with. There's a lot of options out there. So class is one of them, PT is another one. Avoid military boot camps. They are for very specific types of people. They usually want you to buy it in blocks of usually 10 and pay £100 up front because they will kill you in the first session. A lot of people aren't going to like me for this, but they will sell you a block and they will intentionally kill people in the first session because they don't want you there. If they can kill off all the people within 2 or 3 weeks, they still keep your money, there's no refunds, and you know what they'll do in 4 weeks' time? They'll start a new class. And again, sell it for £100 for all the blocks. So they're not actually rarely doing the full amount of sessions. Very rarely. But it's a way of doing it. And it's a horrible little thing that happens in the industry, so you've got to watch out for that. Don't buy in blocks. If they're selling it exclusively in blocks, then it's not for you. Unless you know you really like it.
I'm not kind of the guy that wants to go to the gym either to do classes. I don't want to be around other people whilst I'm exercising.
That's fair enough.
I say I'm probably I'm self-conscious, to be honest. I look like a bit of a tit, I'd imagine.
I suppose this also goes into the disabled side of things as well.
Also, partly that. Also, I'm kind of lazy about actually getting there. One thing I hate is having to do work to do the exercise.
That is a boundary. When I was talking about external locuses earlier,
yeah,
getting there and not having the time is one of the number one things.
If I'm at home, I'm already there. Let's just get on and do it.
Well, there's a lot you can do at home. YouTube videos, there's a lot of good people on YouTube. I have a bit of a mixed thought on it. I'm out of the industry now, so I don't really care. But when I was working in the industry, unfortunately, a lot of YouTubers who made it big doing fitness really hurt the industry. And I'm not going to wish them any ill will. I'm really not. If they're going to corner a market and make their money on it, great. But unfortunately, what it did is it did cripple the industry in certain ways, so that there was like no business in certain aspects. And that was a shame, because it did take a lot of food out of the mouths of people who had been established in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, but those people could have done those videos.
They could have done, but it's one of those. It's a classic example of you've either got to be first or the best.
Yeah.
When I was working, especially in the management position, I was managing the gym as well as doing a lot of other stuff. I still did my own sessions. I still did private stuff. There was a lot that I did, and I had, my weeks were just chock-a-block, like just so intense, so much going on, just to subsidise poor wages and stuff like that. So at the end of the week, I didn't want to do videos. Plus, where was my market? I was making my money through one-on-one sessions and two buddy sessions and other classes. So moving my stuff online so that YouTube could get revenue, it didn't seem like a financially good idea. Not while I was making the money. But YouTube videos do work because there's no pressure. Do your research and don't necessarily go for the popular ones. There's a lot of people out there, and it's easy to go for some of these really big names who have millions of subscribers and all these videos. And some of them are quite good, but always be aware, the bigger they are, the more of an agenda they have, because they'll have sponsors, they'll have cookbooks, they'll have other exercise plans, which they'll charge for.
Well, that's the point. The reason I got into shape was you originally wrote me an exercise plan, and then I pretty much just followed that. But I think the reason I got in good shape was the fact that I followed it pretty strictly. And
that's what it's about. It's about consistency more than anything. It is about consistency. And I didn't charge you for it.
Oh, you're so kind.
But other places would have done. So that's the thing. Other people would have charged for what I gave you. But I wasn't on your shoulder on a weekly basis saying do that, don't do that, all of this sort of stuff. I gave you your nutritional plan, and I gave you your weekly sort of what you should be doing. And this was based around your goals. Now, any personal trainer can do this for you. So even if you can't get a free session, find a personal trainer you like, or is credible. Or
get him to write one and then ditch him.
Yeah, you can do.
I wasn't expecting you to say yes to that.
You can, yeah. You can. Entirely. It's happened to me. And you know people who are coming in just to get the knowledge. And that's fine. Let's just say I didn't want everyone. Sometimes you push people away, because either they're going to be a pain in the bum, or you're just not going to make a lot of money off of them. And unfortunately, it is a business. So you don't want someone buying 5 personal training sessions and then using one once a month. Because that's like nothing. Like, there's no money there. You want people doing at least once a week. I had people who did 4 a week. And those were my star clients. And it wasn't necessarily because of the money. The money was good, and it was nice to have that. But you knew they were eager. And I know not everyone can afford that. So getting that information can really be either cheap or free, depending on where you look. You can get a lot of stuff online. Unfortunately, it is shrouded in misinformation. There's a lot of people trying to sell you something. We've all seen the advert before, video on YouTube saying, do you want to look as ripped as I do in 3 months' time? Blah, blah, blah. Watch this video. And it's their 90-day plan. That's like 100 quid.
I did it in 4 months. That's not bad going.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. And you did well. And you stuck to it.
I think that was the key thing. Is sticking to it. That's where I think everyone goes wrong.
Yeah. And that was tailored to you.
Yeah.
We sat down and we had a chat about what you wanted to achieve, what you could and what you couldn't do. And that's the problem with a lot of these plans online, like the 90-day plan and all this sort of stuff. It's not tailored to you, because they're not sitting down with you. They're not sitting down at a computer and going, Mary specifically needs to do this, this and this, and she has problems with her knees, so we can't do this and this and this and this. And then getting realistic things put in place.
Yeah.
And when something isn't realistic, you're not going to hit it. And as soon as you stop, as soon as you're not hitting your goals and not getting as much progress as you want, that's when you fall off the horse. And that's why with your plan, we made it very manageable. Could we have done it quicker? Got you the results you wanted even quicker? Yes, but it's more pressure. And if you didn't succeed, then you're going to be more disheartened. It's more about changing your lifestyle than anything. It really is.
My lifestyle changed again in July when the pubs reopened.
Well, yeah.
Oh, remember those days?
Yeah, I do. But then you went into a stage of you kept your nutrition, you kept your exercise during the week so you could accommodate your weekend.
Yeah, it kind of worked out actually.
And that's what I would say is another important aspect. If you're gonna have bad habits, if you're gonna drink, if you're gonna have a takeaway on the weekend, just compensate that with doing some exercise or being good in a few days. I never once said to a client, I don't want to see you eating takeaways, I don't want to see you down the pub, that sort of thing. I saw loads of clients in the pub and stuff like that. And so many of them were like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, why? It's like, just, if you're going to have an extra pint, just make sure you do something tomorrow. Come to the spin class, or because they like spinning, or go for a walk, or do a YouTube yoga session in the morning. Just do something to counter it, because it's just balancing. Because literally, if you want to lose weight, you need to burn more calories than you're putting in a day. It's as simple as that. There are lots of crazy diets out there. Do this, do that, don't eat this, don't eat that, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, if you're relatively active and you're doing X amount of minutes a day worth of activity, you're drinking 2 litres of water, that's the number one thing I'd say. Make sure you're drinking your water. 2 litres minimum. Put bottles around the house. That's the best way to do it. In the morning, fill up 3 or 4 like 500 millilitre bottles, pop them around the house. When you see a bottle, drink half of it. Put it back down. Then when you see it again, drink the other half. Before you know it, you've drunk the amount that you need. But that helps a lot.
It's like the world's shittest Easter egg hunt.
It is, pretty much. But you'll feel better for it. You really will. Like, drinking your water, it makes so much of a difference.
I actually did after a while. At first, though, I had to piss a lot.
That is one of the side effects. But the simple thing to remember is the body can only absorb 500 millilitres of liquid every hour, roughly. This is why you get the breaking the seal at the pub. Because if you're drinking a pint, which is just under 600 millilitres, and you drink that in 40 minutes, and then in another 15 minutes, once you've been to the bar and back, you've drunk another third, you're looking around 800 millilitres. Well, 300 of that has to go. Your body can't keep all of that. It will hold on to 500 millilitres, and then it will get rid of the other 300, until it gets used to the fact that it's basically being bombarded with liquid. Mm. It's the same with water. If you're chugging a litre in the morning, you're going to go to the bathroom. It's as simple as that. Stay under the 500 every hour.
Is 2 litres like the optimal amount?
2 litres is the minimum. I'd say 3 litres is around the optimal. But again, it depends what you're doing. If you're exercising that day, I'd say 3 litres should be roughly what you should be aiming for. If you're doing a lot of exercise, maybe 4 litres, especially if it's a hot day. In the summer, you're doing a bit of exercise, even if it's an air-conditioned like gym or a class in the studio, 4 litres probably. The one thing I will say is water. Not, I put water in this tea so this counts. It doesn't.
What if I put water in juice?
No, it doesn't. The simple reason behind that is because you're adding glucose, because you're adding sugar to it, it's impossible to know how the body's going to treat that. Is it going to see it as sustenance, or is it going to see it as hydration? So it depends how much sugar's in it, but your body might just use it like food. In which case, it won't necessarily go through as a hydration. I'd say around 80% of people are chronically dehydrated all the time. It's a crazy high number, because we just don't drink enough.
So basically, if I want to get fit, work out, don't eat too much shit, or if you do, just work it off and drink a ton of water.
Pretty much. And do something that you enjoy. The gym is only for a very small amount of people. It really is 5, maybe 10% of the population. Because it's boring. I hated the gym. So I played sport. I enjoyed playing cricket. I enjoyed playing judo. I didn't go to the gym. And I managed one. You don't have to do stuff because of that's what the world tells you to do. Because it won't work. And you'll feel rubbish afterwards and it will cost you money. So it's just not worth it. So instead of this year going into January thinking, this is going to be the year I'm going to do it, think, why didn't you succeed the last 3 or 4 years? Maybe it's time for change.
Get some new friends.
Get some new friends, leave them at home. Sorry, Barbara, but you're a nuisance at the gym.
And has racist tendencies. Got to drop that shit.
You definitely do. There's no place for that in society, let alone a gym.
Bye-bye, Babs.
Well, there's a bit of an insight into what you shouldn't be doing. And I know it's kind of broad, what I've gone over. But everyone's different. Everyone likes different things. Everyone needs different nutrition, has different diets. Go to the professionals. Make the investment in yourself. It doesn't have to cost the world. It used to be very expensive. It's not anymore. Like every personal trainer undercuts everyone else by ridiculous amounts.
Wow, competition at its best. You know what the good thing about this episode is? It kind of applies to everyone. Whether you're disabled or not, you can get a fitness plan that's tailored to you and then go away and do it. As long as you stick to it and drop all of your friends in the process, you're good.
Yeah. And we didn't really cover the disability side of it.
It's the same, isn't it?
They should, yeah. They should, in theory, if they're worth anything, gyms and personal trainers and professionals in the industry, they should accommodate you. If they don't, then please get in contact over the social media. Let us know about these situations because I'll be interested to hear. I have had it happen to me where they've not been accommodating, where they really should be. The law says they have to be. And they have to have a certain amount of accessible equipment and be able to make concessions for you. Let us know on our social media if this isn't the case.
And we'll shame them.
I will happily shame on social media any company who has not done their right thing. Because as soon as I came to the management job, I took everyone. Literally everyone. And we had such a large disabled client base who came from all over because they knew that I was a blind guide dog user, managing a gym, and I would make everyone welcome. Absolutely everyone. You could come to me and I would give you a bespoke plan. It didn't matter if you only had one arm. It didn't matter if you had MS or I had cancer patients who were going through chemo who wanted to just keep up like general health. Anyone. And if a gym does that to you, email head office, let them know, and let us know. Because I would be interested to hear this.
Yep. And in the meantime, buy some balloons.
Buy some balloons and practice that Balloonsercise.
Alright, should we leave it there for this week?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And
we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
What is next week's topic?
I want to say surprise.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be good. Tune in for a surprise next week.
We will actually at some point tell you what the next week is.
Yeah, because at this point the surprise thing is no longer a surprise.
No. But I haven't got the document up here saying what next week's is going to be.
Something else January based.
But in the meantime, you can get in contact with us through our social media. Find us on Twitter at SeesawPod or on Facebook at the Seesaw Podcast. Anywhere else that you can think of, we're on there. I can't imagine we're used to TikTok much, but we are on TikTok as well.
8 seconds of pure class.
Well, potentially. We'll see how it goes. Might have some guide dog stuff cut there at some point.
Oh shit, you should do that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Or you could email us.
You can email us at theseesawpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or would like to tell us any stories which we can feature on future episodes. We are going to be looking at feedback as we go now. Now that episodes are out there in the ether, we will be vigilant.
Again, somewhat ironically.
Yeah, well, have to make some jokes, don't we?
Okay, I'll catch you in a bit then too.
Great stuff. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.